European wood ants incorporate large quantities of solidified conifer resin into their nests. Conifer resin is a natural disinfectant that has been shown to kill strains of bacteria that can cause disease in wood ants. Thus, the wood ants' use of conifer resin probably came about as a disease protection measure. Which one of the following would be most useful to know in order to evaluate the strength of the argument?
So what is our conclusion here?
Thus, the wood ants' use of conifer resin probably came about.
Yes. So what are we trying to do? What kind of question is this?
Strengthen question?
It's actually an evaluate question. So what we want to do here is they're asking us essentially what information, if we knew the answer to which one of these, would it help us strengthen or weaken our argument? So we're saying, hey, European wood ants incorporate large quantities of solidified conifer resin into their nests. So they use this thing in their nest. Conifer resin is a natural disinfectant that has been shown to kill strains of bacteria that can cause disease in wood ants. So the wood ants use the conifer stuff. So the reason they use it is probably because it's a disease protection measure. So we're trying to prove that, hey, the reasons that these ants use conifer resin in their nest is as a disease protection measure. So,
Okay.
so A is saying whether conifer resin retains its disinfectant properties over a very long period of time. And so let's say that we said yes to this, that it does retain its disinfectant properties for a long time. Does that strengthen or weaken the idea that this is why the ants are using it?
No.
No. Or what happens if it's not over a really long period of time? Does that strengthen or weaken it?
No.
Nope. So it's not A. All right, what about B?
No.
No, because even if they do have it more times than other years of others, that has nothing to do with like why they're using it. Okay, what about C?
Were there any
Excuse
ant
me.
species? Bless you.
What about C? Oh. Would it matter if any other ant uses conifer resin in their nets?
No.
No, why not?
Because we're talking about wood ants.
Right. And couldn't they all potentially be using this thing for something else?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's not helping us determine why.
Whether the use of conifer affords structural benefits to European wood ants. Okay. So between D and E, I would choose D.
Yeah. Okay. So what if conifer resin does have structural benefits? What does that do to our argument?
So it's strengthening the argument.
No, no. If it did not afford a structural benefit, it would weaken our argument, right? Because how do we know that they're using it as a disease protection measure and not just because like it makes it really strong?
Okay.
But if we said no to this, it would strengthen it because it'd be like, okay, they're not using it for structural benefit. So it promotes the idea that it's probably for disease protection.
Okay. I see it.
And then E says whether the disinfectant properties of conifer resin evolved as a disease protection measure for like that doesn't matter, right? Where it came from is that it came from like that the conifer properties came from trees, like that doesn't mean that the ants are using it or not using it as a disease protection measure.
Yeah.
And that's why our answer is D.